It's open to absolutely anybody who just wants to come out and hang out with me and Cass, or to drop some hot wisdom. So please request up. But whilst we wait for people to come up, let's say hello to Cass. Hi, how you doing?
I'm just surprised to hear that we're supposed to leave our houses. That was kind of news to me. I thought the whole point was just stay in the online metaverse thingy for as long as possible. No, it's funny. I'm actually visiting family on the other side of the country at the moment, so I'm not even near my computer. And I told my wife that I'd be having PC withdrawals, which I currently am. So I'm actually very excited to go home soon so I can go play on the computer. But hey, we got Yavs in the building. What's going on, bro?
What's good? What's good? I'm actually out on a walk, so I took her advice before the advice was even said. So, like, you get me? I'm out in nature already, but as soon as I heard anyone wants to request to speak, I hit that button. I'm here with the gang. It's Friday. Let's go. Thanks for having me up, man.
Yeah, it's windy as fuck, Yobs.
Oh no! I'll find somewhere with shelter.
It's actually not that bad.
Yeah, you don't have to sprint. You don't have to sprint while you're on the spaces, bro. Like, you can stay calm with that.
Okay, I see some more people have joined, and you guys may not have heard my ridiculous intro, but the floor is open. So I see you guys. I see you, Prez, Anya, Fawn, Johnny, Clue, Sunred, Tevi, Julian, Jem.
Well, I like how you start out calling the people out to come join. We could go with the premise of the question today, though. Maybe help get the convo started for some people, because I like that that excerpt that you posted. I don't know where that was from, but it was very touching.
No, you've got to pressure them. You've got to say their names. That's how I usually get up on spaces. I remember Bad Take, my first one. Compound was like, hey, Ferry, can you do any accents? And I was like, what? And then suddenly I found myself up there doing the worst LA girl accent. So, yeah, that piece of text is from a book from Rick Rubin. It's called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. And Yobs actually got gifted this to him not a while back, like a week ago or something. And the dude put 50-pound notes, which is like equivalent to $100 bills, in each of the chapters. So now, like, he's not a reader, I'm not a reader, but as he's going through it, it's like pushing him to read because he reaches a new chapter and, well, there you go, you're rich again. So it's got some really, really beautiful words on there. I am fuming that I didn't get to read it before the spaces was happening, but literally a day before I decided that we're going to do this topic, the day after he got this book. So it just like perfectly made sense. Everything came together. I actually had shivers down my neck as I saw the book. And there's another quote. I've actually taken pictures of a few of them, but there's another one. It says, being an artist means to be continually asking, how can it be better? Whatever it is, it may be your art and it may be your life. And I thought that was so freaking beautiful. And it's so true. But obviously, I won't go into it any further. I wanted to hear everybody else's thoughts on what it means to be a creator. Because there's a misconception that being a creator means that you have to produce something that is completely original or groundbreaking, things that have like never been done before. But creators usually like draw inspiration from existing ideas. So there we go, we've got Sunred up. Thank God, people are coming. Yeah, so it's not that. It's not what we always thought it was when we were kids. Like, an artist is somebody that makes sculptures, photography, and like big canvases that go in galleries. No, a creator is a lot more than that. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm going to give it to Sunred. Wait, who came first? Olds? Sunred? Yeah.
Yeah, I was all.
Okay, Alta's answer is gonna be everybody else's answer, so you all might as well go down. He's got a good brain on him, that one. Alt, welcome up on stage.
Thanks, Foray. You didn't actually call my name when you were just like naming all these amazing creators, and you just like somehow skipped me. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be up here.
I'll tell you wait. Because I was scrolled up because I was looking down, so you were right at the top. That's how I know we're best friends.
I'm ending up on the outside of circles. I'm getting skipped over on spaces. I've become invisible. Has Twitter made me invisible?
I'm
Can
sorry,
you guys even
who's
hear
talking
me
right now?
Oh no!
I can't tell who's
What am I
talking.
gonna do?
Wait.
talking?
I'm
You can't. You are in the circle, okay? You know, you're always there in my heart. I'm just, I can blame Twitter. It's not my fault. Oh man.
You're there. You're in the circle.
But yeah,
just
I will
really
blame Twitter.
Outside of it, just on the edge. So don't step any further. Where you might.
I've now become the meme of the guy like at the gate. Let me in.
That's you.
But no, like concerning the I love the quote from that book that you shared. It's such a great way to look at it. For me, like I guess, like I have this just innate energy, like a creative energy, just like burning inside of me. And like if I don't find creative outlets to express it, like I probably just won't function as well. And as you know, if you know me, like most of my creative outlets are just me goofing around in some way, shape, or form. But that's what I love about like Web3 is that it's just like a sandbox. So like the expectations and the anxieties and stuff that we normally have to deal with in our, IRL lives is not there. And everyone has kind of the same mindset and ethos of like, let's kind of make this a play space and let's experiment and kind of figure out the way this is going to take shape together. So to me, I guess it also just boils down to just like, I think we all have like our own story to tell. That's ultimately like what sets us apart, right? Because a lot of the things we're doing, especially like with these 3D assets, we're all, using the same tool sets. We're using Blender and we're using Unreal and things, but it's like, but our content, is completely different because we all have a different, perspective on the world. And that's ultimately what makes everybody special in their own way. So to me, that's just what being a creator is just telling, your own story, from the way that you kind of interpret the world around you.
Absolutely beautiful. See, I told you it was going to be good. I'm going to pass it over to Sunred. Would you like to add anything on that?
Yeah, sure. I actually read that book, the Rick Rubin book. I read it on Audible. I guess that's reading, but it was really good. I'm a big fan of Rick Rubin, and he's really like spiritually inclined and very calm, and he's honestly not even a musician. He says, right? He's just kind of like the person that is giving feedback almost like, and as artists, we kind of struggle with knowing when our own stuff is good enough. So it's definitely helpful to have someone like Rick in the room, inspiring us with new ideas and new perspectives. And, it's a really good book.
I think Yobs is about 3-4 chapters in, and I have just gone through the book to just get the little quotes. But it's drawing me in for real. Like I don't remember the last book I read that, didn't have pictures. So I would love to read this one. There's a few that we've stocked up on, very, very inspirational ones to help you elevate your life, which is something that I need. Things on discipline, things that I need. But this one, it's all about creativity. So this is exactly where I need to go and shift my mind to, because I love our community, but I feel like there's a lot of people who have also reached out to me and they don't feel like they're creators. They're like, I don't deserve the title of an artifact creator. And my aim is to show you guys, to prove to you guys that you don't actually need to be doing specifically 3D. You don't need to be good at Photoshop. You don't need to be a photographer, animator. Yes, we've got some incredible creators, but I don't want that to put you guys off. I want you to be inspired and to, create your own standards, because you're going to be inspiring the person that, in terms of like creativity and self-expression, is just that level behind you. They're not as confident. So just do it, guys. I really want us to talk about this and realize that we're all, you know, on the same path, and it's such a relatable thing to feel overwhelmed and like you're not good enough. Like in the Queen Spaces, we were talking about how we have the imposter syndrome. So, you know, the whole like calling yourself a creator or an artist, there's so much attached to it, so much weight, and it doesn't have to be that. You can make it whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to pass it over to Tevi as well. Tevi, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the imposter syndrome, because I would definitely say that I'm one who I don't quite consider myself a creator. And not necessarily because I'm not creating things and being, you know, trying to express myself in ways that are interesting or fun in some instances, but more from the standpoint that because of exactly that, right? It brings a level of it's more formal, right? And it kind of takes away the fun of it, in my opinion. For me personally. And then there's that weight of, oh, I gotta put something out, you know, every so often, or it's gotta be perfect, and all these things. And initially when I started, right, like, I mean, looking at some of the, you know, people on the stage right now and other people like in our community that are like just really good at their craft, it kind of made it feel like you had to be perfect, and whatever render you're going to put out had to be awesome and everything. And in reality, it's more of a journey, right? And it's more about how do you take your own vision and bring it to life, and realize that it's you know, one step at a time. And kind of once I get out of my own way, realistically, it became a lot more fun, and I've been, you know, learning. And I think a lot of people are kind of doing the same, and think it's the big part of this whole creative process and this journey is just kind of getting out of your own way and realizing that everybody starts from a different point and place in time, but it's all about just expressing yourself and what's inside, and bringing whatever vision you have to life, and be able to show that through your own lens. And so again, once I kind of get that out of my own way, it's been a lot more fun, right? And trying to draw inspiration. Uh, the coolest thing really is when you're sitting there having a conversation with somebody, or you're watching whatever thing happen, you know, and you're just kind of like, you know, sitting back, and then and you draw inspiration from that moment, right? It doesn't even, not anything that you're trying to do specifically, but it just kind of hits. And then you go into, you know, making a render or writing a song or whatever it might be. I think if you ever, I guess the best advice that I have is, if you ever sit there and some random event sparks a creative thought or a creative action out of you, then you are a creator, because you're taking the random and the mundane and turning that into something cool and different, with your own spin on it. So yeah, it's kind of what I got.
I just gotta laugh at you, Heavy, because you said you're not a creator while you got your hoodie all up, moody, talking about how the next one's got to be perfect, how you're not good enough. The art isn't shit, and you know, see, that's like the epitome of a creator, in my opinion. It's always going to be like just the core of, like you said, anybody who cares about like making something and making that just thing happen, and it can be anything from an idea to like actually putting paint on canvases or cooking or anything. Like I wholeheartedly believe, even like, shout out Anya, but good parenting is actually an art skill in its own right, because like interpersonal skills are very hard and it's not always easy. And so like trying to like raise little humans is like, yeah, nah, I'm not trying to take on that challenge right now. But yeah, it's I think that's why the ethos of everything like Ferry's saying, and even Benoit's talked a lot about how everyone is a creator, and it's just very true. Like, we all have a creative side, whether we get used to expressing it or we're used to like making those ideas come to fruition. But like, that's the coolest part about being human, is we can do really cool stuff if we want to. You just got to believe in yourself and, put effort in. But yeah.
Cass, I was wondering why you were laughing and I was doing the sad crying face when Tevi was saying, I don't see myself as a creator. I was like, this guy is so freaking ruthless.
Because he was in his ultimate like French movie director mode for a moment, like, you know what I mean? Like, like, that's just what I saw in my head. This guy's just complaining about how he's got to be a better artist, yet he's not an artist. Which, like, dude, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I think I've finally reached that point where I don't like. I think there was a long time where I really wanted to be considered like an artist. Like, it was a title to grab, and like you can finally say, you did it or something. Like, I don't even know. But I think over time, it was just, I genuinely just was like, fuck it, I just love doing this, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And whatever happens, happens, and that's kind of the whole thing. So I put a tweet in the comments, and y'all should add any weird or not weird, but any good quotes you guys have seen. But Dave Grohl had this like big rant where he was talking about like, and Dave Grohl was he was drummer for Nirvana and frontman for Foo Fighters, and so he's kind of good at music, but it just really went off and basically talks about how like you don't have to be an American Idol or on The Voice to become a famous musician. Like, you just need to go and get a shitty guitar and play shitty music with your friends, and one day you won't be shitty and you'll be able to show the world what you can do. And like, that's really what it is. Like, it's the process of getting the skills up in one degree and then being comfortable enough to like present them in another.
No, yeah, and I
And those are,
completely agree.
yeah.
Like, I feel like as you learn new skills and, want to learn a new skill, sometimes it's intimidating, up until you get to a certain threshold, though. Like, as long as you're practicing and like sticking to it, once you get to that threshold, you can kind of get creative at that point, and kind of do like break the rules or do something intentional that's wrong for someone that's traditional, but you can kind of just do that intentionally. Maybe you want the viewer to feel that emotion, who knows? Like, it's up to the artist. And I feel like, Tevi, you are an artist. Like, you come out here every day in Bad Take, and you got that practice, you got that. Like, I'm still nervous, I got a shaky voice, I'm still trying though, but it's inspiring to see how you come up every night and still perform it the way you speak.
No, I appreciate that. And the reality, like I said, the biggest part, right, is like getting out of your own head. And for me, honestly, like, you know what, it's great, but it's also a double-edged sword, right? Because again, there's so many talented creators in this ecosystem that it's really easy to, especially when you're getting started, to like compare yourself to everybody else that's like been doing this for a while longer, and not realizing that, hey, they started at a certain point in time too. But because you are that creator, because you're so critical of your own skill set, at least for me, it was almost like, well, I don't want to put out this render that looks janky because people are gonna laugh at me. Like, I would laugh at myself. I'm laughing at myself right now. Like, I'm not proud of this. And it's almost like, man, it doesn't really matter, right? Like, you gotta start, you gotta practice to get better. Once you can get past that, then it's a lot easier. But it's funny because every time I put something out, it's like, or actually every time I create something, I should say, like, there's always a specific scene or something that I was trying to be so careful about. And I'll give you the latest example, right? That little animation that I put out with the case, of all of the things that I was trying to be super careful on, and plan it out and get the right angles and everything. Fairy pointed out the little suitcase bouncing, right? Like, as the clone is walking away. When that happened, it was actually a mistake. It was, so I linked the case to the bone, and I was not intending for the case to bounce. I wanted the clone to hold the case and run away with it. And after I rendered it, realized that the case was kind of bouncing, and I laughed. I was like, that's kind of funny, right? I'm like, whatever. At this point, it is what it is, and I moved on. And so when she pointed that as the one cool thing that, in the whole video, like that was the thing that kind of caught our eye. And I was like, there you go. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something that you enjoy and you like, and people will find different things that they gravitate towards. So that was actually a really interesting one. The thing I was super excited about was, like the little Natakota dancing. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, so just all these different things that I was trying to get perfect. And that was the one thing that, just kind of happened. And I was like, well, that's not necessarily the look that I want, but, I don't really care at this point. We'll just go with it. And that's what Fairy liked. So, just put it out there, and learn and grow from it.
Tevi, it is so nice to hear that. My heart is actually so warm right now. And I just want you guys to know that the people who laugh and judge have never, ever taken that brave first step themselves. So they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, okay? We don't care about their opinions. Yobzi, your hand is up.
Yeah, what's going on? I hope it's not too windy right now, but I just wanted to jump in and just talk about before the topic moves on a bit. But I absolutely love this this topic, this whole idea of creativity, creation, and everything, because I truly believe from the moment you're conceived or the moment you're born, you become a creator. With every breath you take, you're moving atoms. With every step you take, you're shifting reality in your will almost. Yeah, when you take a pen or a pencil and put it to paper, and the atoms of the lead fly across the paper, and you make a stroke, that in itself is creativity. And it was from a quite an early young age where I just fell in love with the idea of creation, and the idea of you putting some input in and some effort in, and then you've I don't know, made this drawing, however rudimentary or simple it is at the start, whether it's a stick man or it's a Picasso painting or whatever it might be. You created that. Without your input, that would not have existed. And to me, that's such a beautiful idea and notion, that you are the creator of your own destiny. You're the god of your own universe. And it's just super cool. And when it comes to creativity and people maybe being worried about not being good enough and such like that, there's an excerpt or a chapter in the book, and I think Ferry may touch on this as well, but it's when you're a kid and you just make things, you just paint, you don't care what anyone's going to think of it, you don't care what the next person, you just think I've thrown some paint on a page and it's fucking cool. That's the childlike wonder. And if you adopt that into your life in general, you'll go so far in terms of creativity, because it starts from understanding that your actions and motions are creation in itself, and then it's how do I take it to the next level? And you'll always get better and better and better and better, no matter what. The only time you won't get better is if you don't put that work out there. I used to my Instagram, if you look at it, you'll scroll, you flick one time and you'll reach the end, because I was always so scared of putting work out there, because it wasn't good enough, or I'll hold on to it and be oh, I'm gonna wait until the perfect time to release this, because the the world needs to see it, and stuff like that. But then I'll sit on it for a month or 2 months or even a year, and in that time I would have created some other things, and then that thing from a year ago, which I thought was so sick, is not so sick anymore, and then I don't even want to post it. So really let go of the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, and any of these things, and just have a childlike mentality to it, and just start putting things out there, because the more you do, the better you get. And that's just a fact. You're not going to get worse at something by doing it. So yeah, I just love the whole creativity and creative aspect of everything. And I'm super proud and honored to be a part of such a community that holds these kinds of spaces, that uplifts creators in this kind of way. You don't see this in the world anymore, man. Such an open platform. Shout out to you guys, man. I love it all.
Yeah, I got to give a quick shout out to Yabs, because I've had a private call with him where he told me those exact same things. And I still think about it, and actually is like part of the reason why, like, even one of my recent videos, I put like my own music into it, because I was like, dude, I'm not rehashing it. What Yob said was beautiful. We got to go to Johnny and Alts. So let's throw it to Johnny, and then we'll go to Alts.
Yo, what's going on, family? Hope all is well. Loving the conversation. I love everyone's point of view. I mean, it's literally everything I probably would have said already. It's just, I feel like, yeah, mine was like the very opposite of like hiding my work. I felt like it was like from day one, once we actually had a platform to be able to show it, I was like, yo, this is a way to just like get it out of my brain and get it out of the ethos and just have it there, right? It was for no purpose. I mean, I literally did it every single day for almost 8 years without any kind of purpose, meaning, career, making any kind of money off of it. Didn't even know I could until I reached like 150 something thousand followers on Instagram, and then everyone was like, what the hell are you doing with this? Like, you're just posting every single day, you're designing, you're getting your work stolen by massive companies, like, and you're just giving it to them for free. Like, I don't understand what you're doing. Then I figured out a way to like just not have to do everything, and reached out to other creators and makers all over the world to have like this connectivity of collaboration to be able to actually like make everything I've ever wanted, right? It was like insane. And once I learned, like, all over the world, there's people that are just following their passions. And if you can just link with those other creators that are doing the same things on the same path, but they're doing what they want, I mean, it's the most beautiful thing in the world as far as creation, right? It's like anything is possible when you get like-minded people together that have a like-minded goal. It's just showing up every single day. I think that's the biggest thing, right? It's maybe not every day, but showing up and consistency is everything. And yeah, the 10,000 hour rule is, I mean, it's fact. It's not even like, it's a proven fact. You do something enough and you will be an expert at it. That's why I said, I mean, just dedicate 1 week to something. If you really think about it, like whether it's finances or art or 3D or anything else, like within 1 week, it's insane what you can accomplish if you just dedicated that time. So like solely focusing on that one creation. But super excited to just be a part of this community. Obviously, I've been here since day one and trying to put out consistent work. And it's really obviously for me, but then to even spark any kind of creativity within anybody else within the community to start picking up 3D or Photoshop or wanting to show up and design or ask questions of how to do this or that. I mean, it's amazing. And the amount of people, I mean, hundreds of clones have reached out over the last 2 years for advice and talking, to connecting, wanting to collaborate. I mean, I'm literally part of, I think, every single side project within this ecosystem, which is insane. And just incredibly grateful. So, yeah, just put it out there. Don't be afraid. I find perfection and imperfection. I think Clegg says it all the time, right? Just don't hold it in. I design a day, put it out there every day and see what the world thinks of it, right? At the end of the day, if you're doing it for yourself, it shouldn't matter what anybody else thinks. But if you'd be surprised how many people fuck with your vision and where it can get you when you put it out there, and the connectivity that you can have when people just reach out and say, man, I just want to link with that, or I want to do something with that, or I think I can use your skill here or there. And it'll take you on a path you would have never dreamt. And, I'm living proof that it's like, if you show up every single day, you can actually like live your dream. So shout out to every single creator out there that shows up, and I appreciate you guys for having me on here.
Sheesh, Johnny came with the big bombs. There's two things we're gonna have to come back to. I feel like one is the 10,000 hour rule, because there's something I wanted to say about that, and then the second part is definitely like leveraging social media. We really need, as like especially y'all are all family. There's enough of us in here. We could all get 100,000 follower accounts and it wouldn't change anything. And so like that's the kind of stuff that like as a collective we could really start doing more to help boost each other on other platforms. And love to really dive deep into that and have fun with it. But Alts, let's go to you and then Anya.
Yeah, Johnny, they can't fuck with your vision if you don't even know where you're going, right? That's kind of my ethos. But now, like Tevi was saying earlier, like it's important to look around at the people that that you think are doing dope stuff and kind of realize that it took them a while to get there. But then there's also like these anomalies like Johnny that like, man, when you started dropping your stuff, like a month in, you were just like blowing our minds. So yeah, it's different levels to it for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's so many creators in this community that are just like beacons for passion and drive, and I love it. And I want to kind of talk about kind of the process as a creator, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter what medium you're using. We kind of all go through the same thing, but I call it like a step system, right? Like you first take off running and you start creating and you're having a blast and it's so much fun. And every time you sit down to work on your art, your craft is getting better and better and better. And you feel like the king or queen of the world. And then you kind of hit a bit of a wall and you like have to push, and then you kind of take a step up, right? And then when you get to the next step, you can see that much further. And then you realize that everyone on that step is way better than you. And you feel like shit, right? And you have to kind of reset. And then you have to finally work. And then you get to the next step. And it's just kind of like you're always going to find a next step where you realize, that there's a whole lot to it that you just still don't know, which that's part of, you got to embrace that part of the process. And don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged, because every step you take up, you don't have to ever go back down, right? But what y'all was just saying earlier, like the childlike wonder, like this is the best place to find it as an adult that I've ever come across, which is what I love about this space. But it's only ever whatever you bring to it. And speaking to the 10,000 hours, like how do you? That's quite an ask, right? A challenge to log 10,000 hours, especially in today's modern society. There's just distractions everywhere, and it's really easy to give up on something, get bored, and move on to the next thing. But it's like I think it's really important to like look inside yourself and find out, like, it's okay to ask yourself, like, what do you want out of the space and out of your journey? And if your process is to find something to get obsessed with, to set your bar really high, to find an example of what you want to reach, and then you just like don't stop till you get there. Like that's one way it works for some people. Like my way is like, that's what I used to try in the RL, and it just never worked for me. For a myriad of reasons. But like what I found my own path was like, okay, I want to find a way to just say, fuck it. I just want to have fun. I want to do it my way. I just want to be passionate. I want to just share my art in whatever form it takes that day. And then just like whatever that turns into, I'll be happy with, because I enjoy just creating and telling stories and stuff. But I think like whatever you figure out for your own strategy or approach to this space, I think that's the key, is to just make sure you maintain that passion, because then literally the rest of itself, it'll just work itself out, I think, if you're able to do that.
Sheesh. Okay. Let's throw it to Anya real quick, and then also we definitely coming back to some of that. Anya, what is happening? Oh, she's cooking something, y'all. It's bubbling. It's about to tell us about the creation alpha. Oh.
If you know a creator, a loved one of yours, a degen, who doesn't believe that they are an artist, please send them our way. We'll give them all of the creative love that they deserve, because they are an artist and a creative. Thank you.
Oh my god, I love it.
No, I'm sorry. I had that cooking like since the beginning I got on the stage, so I just wanted to wait for a good moment to do that. But no, I thanks guys for having patience with my craziness. So I did want to bring it back to the serious note, because everything that Alt said and everything that Johnny was saying and everything that Tevi was saying and Yobs was saying and everything was just really honestly very touching. I'm so grateful to be like amongst you guys, and I think that one of the things I wanted to like kind of say and like touch on is, that your job as an artist is to create like meaning, create beauty, and I think that your vision, it's going to be transformative. It's going to be this like transformative experience, because you are an agent of culture, especially being within the Web3 realm. You're not a function of the social order creating what you have, your own perspective, your own, path and where you've come from. And I also think that, if you believe that you are like doing something like meaningful, every time that you create, it will come out extraordinary. Because everything that you shape, it's going to come out with your perspective, and that when you do put something out there, like even if you think it's like insignificant, if it's small and you don't really understand now what like the impact of it will really have, I hope that you'll that you'll know that you'll never know exactly what period of time your creations will touch and what point in that person's life that your art will have an impact on. So like we're kind of, I think sometimes we get lost in the circle that is that Web3 moves so fast, and it is never ending, notifications all the time. And so I think if we remember that sometimes, even here in the digital realm, your art and your creations are truly timeless, and it will go on to become something that people will reflect on and will use as the seeds to their own creations and to their own path as creators. So, and you guys are amazing. You inspire me so much. I wish I was as good as you. I've got way too much to do on my hands in IRL, but someday I will get to be as good as you guys. You impress me so much. Everything that you guys do, it really brings me to tears how wonderful all of you are in your creations.
But what do you mean, Anya? This is exactly what we're talking about. You just created immaculate vibes, and you inspired absolutely everybody and dropped some bombs over here. Like, seriously, give yourself the credit that you do deserve, because you're an incredibly warm human being. So thank you for sharing that with us. I wanted to actually ask, Yob's already covered what I wanted to speak about, so thanks, Yob. But the whole childlike wonder aspect of creativity, we are so used to having this kind of the standards set on us by society or whatever, that, everything has to be done in a certain way, and it can really, really be crippling on any form that you want to express yourself, to, really truly let out what you have deep inside you, because we're scared. And part of being creative, a successful creative, is unlearning all of that, but also learning to balance it with the wisdom and the knowledge that you've gathered over the years. So this is something incredibly, incredibly difficult to try and achieve. But once you get there, it's going to be complete, pure bliss. So that, I think, as a creative, when you're setting goals for yourself, of course, anyone can have whatever goals that they want to have. But having a goal like that, to be able to find that balance and to find the freedom to express yourself. Because a lot of people have like, oh, I want to work for so-and-so, or I want to have my piece of art in this gallery. And they're all amazing goals to have. But, when you don't reach that, if you're not strong enough, that can really, really hurt you. So having the right goals is very, very important. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on, as a creative, what your goals should be and what your focus should be. Cass?
Goal is to be the greatest I can be, period. All day, every day, till I die, period. Fuck everything else. No, I think that's real, because some people, depending on what expectations are, I think level setting or expectations are always a big thing. But I think a lot of people have said it already with like you got to be obsessed with the journey first, more so than like actually any sort of goals. Like, I could give two shits about getting a Grammy right now, but the concept of making like something that I would want, that I just really love the way it sounds, is way more important. And I think that's just like really what it is. It's, you're finding your own skill set. I definitely, as nerdy as it sounds, I always have seen art and any sort of like creation ability is like just like magic or any like game skill. Like, the more you do it, the crazier things can happen, and the easier it gets, almost, in some aspects, depending on what you want to do. And that's why I also say I'm a low key. I'm actually hiking, so I'm saying it right now. But I am actually respectfully disagreeing with all this earlier statement about 10,000 hours being a big ask. And I done the maths a lot, y'all. Listen, don't play with me. I done the maths on it, and I get it. It's like, you could spend a few years working really, really, really hard to get that number and still might not feel exactly like where you want to be. But the cool thing is like we're all relatively older. You know, you're not a child. And so I think that concept of 10,000 hours doesn't equate like some of the harder concepts that adults can understand. Like, you know, Tevi was able to download 3D software and video editing software in a few weeks and spend a few months doing a bunch of crazy stuff. And, you know, what if it takes just a few expensive plugins for him or like the right concept to go around, and now all of a sudden he's making the pro level stuff he wants, whereas like a 16-year-old might have to be like, damn, I don't know what I'm doing, I got to scrape together $200 to figure out what the next move is to download Premiere Pro or something. And there's all sorts of things, and understanding like tough concepts or bringing in your other like knowledge bases. I think social media is one of those things people do not take advantage of. Shout out to Johnny being a great example, because if you can do what you love authentically in a place where like there's authentic engagement. So like Johnny on Instagram in the early days, perfect place for shoes. Like I know I feel like I've seen some of his stuff just like on viral posts probably. Like same thing with like Yob should have like 100,000 followers at this point. He has so much like talent, but you know, to your point, bro, I've been there. Like I don't post as much as I need to, and it's really, yeah, just feeling authentic and getting in the rhythm of just showing your craft and creating opportunities for yourself. It's just a journey, though. You know, you'll get there. You'll get to the top of the mountain. I really love Lauryn Hill, and there's a good Grammy speech she has where she talks about music as like a musical journey as like mountain traversing, where there's peaks and valleys, and you know you're gonna have highs and lows, just like Alt was saying with like the steps. And so yeah, I mean, it's not easy to climb mountains, but if you just keep going up, you'll get there to the top eventually, you know. But I'll throw it to Yabs. Don't want to keep yammering.
Nah, I keep yammering, bruv. I love what you say every time. But I just wanted to also touch on that like 10,000 hours thing again, because like it does sound outrageous, it does sound crazy, but like the saying is it's like 10,000 hours to become a master of something, like legit, like I don't know, Takeshi Murakami, like master levels. Like before you get there, you'll be like insane already. And it's like usually an exponential curve. Like when you start off anything, you pick it up like way faster, like really, really quick. And then it's like a fall off curve. So you'll be like really, really good, like really, really quickly. But it's like 10,000 hours to become a master. So it sounds like a long time, but like I think Johnny was saying, like you'll be really good within like a month if you just did something every day. Like you'll be like outrageously good at it. But yeah, I just want to also touch on the thing that the question Ferry asked about like the goals and stuff. And one thing I realized, especially like as a creator, as someone like if you're trying to do something new, for instance, I used to like really, whenever like New Year or something, you know, New Year's resolutions, this year is going to be my year, or like this year I'm going to achieve this, or like in 2-3 years I want to have like this done. When you're on like a new path, you have like no idea how long these things are going to take you. And like I used to find myself, you know, giving up after like a year of like this or a few months of that, because I thought I haven't reached where I wanted to be at this time. But it's like the only way you fail is if you just stop. Like that's the main rule. Like the only way you can fail at something is if you stop doing it. Like that's all. So like when it comes to like goals and setting things, it's like I say dream as big as you possibly can. Like my dreams have always been like gigantic, man. Like people have heard it. I want to have a castle. Like I'm trying to have literally like the sickest and dopest project in the whole of Web3. Like that's like the goal, man. But don't put like time limitations or restrictions on like when it's going to take or like how long it's going to take you to get there. Just have a goal and forget about time, because time is like an illusion anyway. It's a construct. You make it what you want it to be, because you could spend, you know, like 100 hours doing nothing and it will go by in an instant in your memory, like when you think back about it. Well, if you spend 100 hours drawing, at the time it will feel like a long time. And then when you think back on like that time that you spent doing that, you like stretch time. So like it's crazy but you just have to stop putting like these limitations and restrictions on yourself and your creativity and just let things fly, because one day it will land and it's going to be banging.
You got a Birmingham
Yeah,
accent right at the end, Yobs. You went, it's gonna be banging. That was funny. Sorry.
I was going to say, piggybacking off of that too, with the 10,000 hours, it's all put in perspective, right? If you love what you're doing, hours don't matter. Days, weeks, months, years doesn't matter, right? You're actually doing something you love to do. I think with life, it's like we're trying to figure out a way to like live the most fulfilling life, like where you don't feel like kind of like a slave to a system or anything like that. If you're following what you feel like you were born to do, hours, it's literally just a construct of the mind, right? So it's like, if don't go down a path of doing something for a paycheck, don't do it for somebody else, don't do it because it's hype at the moment. It's like literally do it because you actually love it. If you've done 100 hours of it and you hate it, you're frustrated, you can't see yourself doing it more, stop doing it and do something else. Like there is those roads and those barriers where you're like, yo, I'm just not meant to do this. And I found a lot of barriers like that where I'm like, no, I'm just gonna find somebody else that's like actually likes doing that to do that, and I'm gonna do something that I actually love to do, right? So it is all perspective. It's like 10,000 hours will come very fast, and it'll be fleeting. Honestly, it's like when you think about like if you're passionate about something, and then it'll lead you down again your dream path.
Facts.
I want to chime in on that as well.
No,
Sorry,
I was going
Frig.
to pass it to you anyway.
Oh, well, then we're just tossing it back and forth. Beautiful. It's like when you try to pass somebody in the hallway and you both kind of go the same direction, and then you just find yourself dancing. But no, I think like the journey itself is the destination, right? Like what you'll find is the more that you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. And wherever you think you're going is probably not actually where you're going to end up. But like you might as well just focus on having fun along the way. Like especially in this space, right? Like it's going to take completely new form. Like every wave and every cycle of like new utility and adoption, we're going to keep adjusting. So I guess maybe don't get too hung up on, where you're headed as far as like the way you want to go there. And you're right. Like that. Yeah. Time is a construct. The concept of a construct is a construct, right? Like, I mean, I probably got like, I don't know, 35,000 hours in crypto in general. And right. But it's like, cause it can go by so fast when you're just having fun. But even like, I just realized that the 10,000 hour thing is like, that was created in an analog world, right? That concept is pretty old. Like I can't remember. It might have been like, I don't know. It might be 100 years old or longer, like older. Like it's a very old concept, like working with things and inventions and mastering, tools and musical instruments and stuff like that, and art, painting and whatnot. But like we live in a digital world now, right? So like it'll still take a ton of time and effort, to get to a master level, but it's probably going to be truncated timetable when you're talking like about these applications that we have, YouTube University, like how quickly you can get on there and learn these new tools. AI is going to help like take a lot of the bricks out of the bag, right? Like that's the thing too, is as technology advances, you're not going to have to know the full spectrum of everything, right? Like you can just focus on the creative side as a lot of these things get folded into the technology, which is really, really nice because it allows us to express even more and not have to worry about the minutia of the, learning the fine details that the master level would typically, take you to get to. But it's also, I don't know, you'll find with most every art form, it's good to really start with the fundamentals and understand those first because everything else was birthed out of that, right? But like you kind of end up making your own adoption curve based off of like, it can go vertical if you find enough passion and drive, right? But imagine like how quickly this is all going to take off. Like once we find new ways to create, once we have like Neuralink in our brains, right, Cass? Like it's gonna really just turbocharge the creative process, I think.
Bro, that's actually when you become an anti-creative robot that just does whatever the chip tells you to. But what I gotta say, Alt, is that like you're actually a perfect example in my head because it's like you have a great understanding of like film and like just cinematography, but at the same time, does that supposed to be like the qualifier for like now being able to do like 3D stuff and like VR and all these other crazy things? Like nobody would say yes, but like you're able to do a lot of like super insane things. And same thing to Tevi, who I'm gonna pass it to next, is I could tell you film buff that you just know TV and anime and you just know what looks good. And I think people doubt themselves and the capabilities they have or the time that they potentially have, because we all have time and we all can get money. Like, I trust me, I wholeheartedly believe all y'all are smart enough to make billions if you really, really, really desire to, but it's all good. But yeah, I just love this talk because it's like, I think Sunred said it earlier, like, once you get to a point where you just, know how to do things, you can start to do things however you want to, and you will be in like a range of what people will be like, oh, that's dope. And it's like, that's where art like really can get fun for the, you as a creator. You can just start to literally, I feel like everybody knows it, like that, like feeling you're like, I can finally make what's in my head. Like, holy shit, like that's cool. And then you're like, wait, that's not that good. I got to get it a little bit better. I got to get it a little bit better. And yeah, it's a fun, painful process climbing up a mountain, but God,
Yeah,
it's
Cass, I
awesome.
completely get that. I found myself in like seconds of a time in like Ableton or Premiere, like frame by frame at moments, like just solving small problems just because they annoy me, like, and that's kind of like the through line, right? Like whatever annoys you almost is like your taste and like how you view beauty, like Anya said, right? And like it's just problem solving at like granular levels and then kind of zooming out, and seeing, okay, is this solving the greater problem? And the process is just awesome, and it's just fun every time. So yeah, it's all about the journey, and AI will kind of replace us, but that's the kind of challenge. Like, how do we keep that taste part alive at least? Like,
I want you to change that mindset of yours. AI isn't going to replace us, they're going to assist us. And when you use
right.
ChatGPT, I want you to say your please and thank yous, okay?
No, I completely get that, and I feel like it's just like you don't really know what to create. That's the big. I find myself looking at ChatGPT, not knowing what to type, and that's just like the biggest like problem for me, right? Like it's just like I'm stuck there. I don't even know what to make, even though I can like have it code whatever I want, right? Like it's just like, whoa.
I think artist block is a whole fun topic that I don't even want to get on me right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah,
I mean,
that's a
that's the biggest part of this whole like community too, like in Nike and Artifact. And it's just like action, practice, waking up and just getting to it.
yeah. See, that's where like I think Johnny does a good job of this too. Is that if you get that like habitual nature around it, and you just say fuck it, and like I definitely was super excited this time last year. Like every day, I just was like, I want to see who's posting what. I want to make something new, so I have something ready to post. And then we just gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep going, and it has nothing to do with being the best 3D person right away. It's like this is a part of enjoying the process, being able to hang out with other people who get it, and love doing it too. But Tevi has had his arm up for a while. He gonna lose that arm soon. We'll start with Tevi.
I mean, demons can just regrow their limbs, so it's no problem at all.
Utility I didn't know about. That's dope to hear.
Yeah, it is, especially if you're a nice demon. Just freezes off and drop the temperature, bring it back. So I don't even know where that came from. Wow, random. Two things, actually three things. One, Anya, earlier you saying you're not really creating or whatever. That's that's not even remotely okay. You literally came on with a song and then did a full voiceover, and it came out of nowhere. I don't know if you wrote it down or you just spit it from like just your amazing brain or what, but that was dope. So that's full on creation on display. That's like real time happening. I don't know too many people that can do that. Cass, you've been talking about climbing that creative mountain. It sounds like you're literally walking up a mountain. So keep that up. I think both metaphors and literal. All that stuff is great. So keep it up. I think you're like getting double the XP doing that. As far as goal setting, yeah, I think it's honestly about the journey. Kind of going back to the question that Ferry had. I don't know that, I personally have like a big grand master plan in mind rather than beyond I just want to make whatever comes to mind come to life and express it in a way that I think looks good. And really it's like any task, right? Like if you think of the task as a whole, it's daunting and it's intimidating. But if you break it down into like smaller pieces, and learn that smaller piece. And again, I think many people have said, like, don't put a time limit on it, right? But more of this is step one. How do I get step one done and figure that out? And then once you have step one done, go to step two. How do I figure that out? And before you know it, you'll be at step 10. You'll have your first, whatever that you're trying to create completed. And everything that you've learned through that creative process, you can then leverage and go on to the next thing and get more and more complex as you go along. So, yeah, I think it's really about the journey, right? And allowing yourself the time to grow and accept the fact that you will fail, but realizing that in those failures, there's going to be some really cool new things that you're going to learn that you otherwise, even if you actually had voluntarily tried to go and create that, you probably wouldn't have been able to. And that's, when I think about Clone Tools, I think Clone Tools is fabulous, but I haven't used it. It's like I don't even know how to use it. And the reason why I didn't want to use it is because I felt like it would be a crutch. And, I really wanted to learn how to rig all this stuff, and it took forever to learn it. But once you have the concept, and I forget if it was Yobs or if it was Alts who said it earlier, but once you have the concept down, actually maybe I think it was Sunred, but it doesn't matter. Someone had said it and it was on point. Once you have the concept of what you're doing down, then you can assemble, disassemble, attach, reattach. You can do whatever you want, right? You can truly let your mind loose. And when you do make that next mistake, you can fix it on the spot and keep it moving. And I think once you get to that level of flexibility in your creative thoughts and your ability to execute on that, then I think that's really where the magic happens. And so just focus on learning one skill at a time, whatever that is. I think one of the people that I watch intently is Jay Marino. And he doesn't he doesn't necessarily put out like the whole thing, right? Like he'll just put out a little step of what he's trying to create. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And then he goes and does the next one. It's like, and then at some point he just comes out of nowhere and you see it all together, but it's nowhere near what you thought it was going to be, because those were all just tiny little pieces that ultimately, once he get all this, it feels like when he get all the skill, like the different points figured out, then it allowed him to like augment all that, right? So it's not a linear process. It's truly an exponential process. So it's like one little step here, one little step there, and then when it all comes together, it's just fire. So yeah, it's just one step at a time. Doesn't matter how long that step takes, just learn it and allow yourself the time to learn and fail. There's nothing better than the journey.
Absolutely. And there is one more quote that I want to read for you guys before I pass it over to Yobs, if I can find it. Okay. It says, art is choosing to do something skillfully, caring about the details, bringing all of yourself to make the finest work you can. It is beyond ego, vanity, self-glorification, and the need for approval. And I thought that was absolutely fire too. But I'll send it over to Yobs now.
First of all, I just want to say everything that everyone's been saying, everything is a great take. Every single thing anyone said has been absolutely amazing, and that's a nod to creativity. And it's
in creativity, there is no right and wrong way of doing things. Like, there literally isn't a rule book. There isn't a way of doing things or not doing things. It's like whatever goes, and like I think that's so powerful, especially in like the discussions, because like no one can argue against each other about like what is right and what's wrong, because it's ultimately our interpretation of the world. But I really did just want to touch on the AI thing a little bit, because I think that's also like super powerful. But one thing like AI will never be able to do is like know what cool is. It can never know what dope is. Like coolness, like if you ever like go on like Chat GPT, for example, and it's like the best way of like figuring this out, and you say, oh, give me something cool, for example, get a cool something this, it will never know the idea of cool or dope, because that's ever evolving. What was cool in the 80s might not be cool now. It might like come round and stuff like that, but it's just that thing of it will always be behind us, because AI is just feeding off what's currently there as a data set and spitting it back out in the way that like you've asked it to, in whatever way. So it will never know what cool is, so you'll always be ahead of the curve. But having said that, I implore absolutely anybody who is like interested in like creativity, interested in art, and feels like they may not have like the skills or so to like get their ideas out there, to actually go and mess around with like Midjourney or Chat GPT, but Midjourney especially. And don't be afraid, or don't have like this thing of, oh, I didn't create it, so I can't claim it as a creator. Because what you'll find is, whenever I've asked or told anyone about Midjourney and like the stable diffusion, the image generation, I'm like, so tell me what you want it to make. So they have like the example, right? And 9 times out of 10 is something super basic, super simple. They're like a cat riding a dragon. One sentence, right? But when you go into Midjourney and you see the prompts that people give it to create these crazy images, it's like paragraphs of word. But in like very creative forms, you're really describing to the machine what you want out of it. And in doing that, you learn a lot about creativity in itself. It's like the way you have to build sentences, build phrases for the machine to understand, and then you get something out of it. So if you really are like someone that maybe feels like they really want to get into it and they don't have like the skill set, honestly, pick up Midjourney. There's no shame in it whatsoever, as long as you're not really trying to pass off the work that's given as your own, right? Because there's now like, if you really want like the alpha, the growth hack of the century is like make like literally 10 images a day and just post it on Instagram, and the algorithm will pick you up and you'll instantly get like hundreds and thousands of followers. It's a thing. But to be really good at the whole AI thing, if you go on like AI accounts on Instagram, you'll see these like crazy conceptual like Nike pieces, conceptual Louis Vuitton stuff. You're just drawing on what's there to remix it and bring out something new to the world. And I think, just like go in and like give it a shot and like explore your creativity, because creativity is the idea. Art is the idea. The skill is what's needed to pull it off, but the actual art is the idea. So if you have ideas, use AI, utilize it, and utilize the tools that are coming out now in this crazy world to like push your ideas forward. And in that process, you'll find that you've become an artist.
Yo, shout out to Yobs for first off plugging Midjourney, especially someone who's been like a traditional, like can draw and paint with like crazy level. Like you gotta spend time to do that stuff. And that's like, those are usually the first people to be pissed when they see something like AI accounts getting hundreds of thousands of followers in minutes. Like that's also why, like, man, Yobs, we gonna do it. We gonna push each other to take over other social medias, because I think there's a lot of talent in this space that, like, I know all of you guys can do this. We do it here in Twitter. It's just like Twitter's a little bit, it's not the best platform for like artists, and not artists, but like for maintaining a portfolio of art, I should say, and building that like artistic brand. So we'll talk later. I might start a chat. It's gonna be called the Engagement Farmers. It'll be farmers only, something along those lines. Yeah, but we'll go to Johnny first.
No, it's actually insane talking about the AI stuff and the Instagram accounts, right? One of my friends is like blowing up right now from just doing these AI images and whatnot of like boots and Nikes and these crazy like lion jackets and Renaissance pieces and everything like that. And now he's reaching out to me, being like, "Yo, how do we 3D print this stuff?" Like I'm getting clients hitting me up left, right, and center trying to figure out a way to like get this physically made. And as a guy working within manufacturing now, I see a lot of these AI pieces, and I'm like, how has no one made this yet? Right? We have to figure out a way to tech pack this and make this and bring it into the world. Like some of these AI pieces, I mean, you see them, right? I mean, some of these pieces are absolutely insane that are being made. So it's like, it's just enhancing, right? He's doing all the creative, prompting it, doing all these things, but then he's creating like a career for himself using this AI tool to then bring it to real world manufacturing to then, you know, again, just utilizing it to your benefit. But he came out of nowhere, just started doing this, tested it out, worked, bang, caught on, and then now he's going to be starting to make a lot of this stuff, and it'll come into the world really soon. So, yeah, just another use case.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is like every boost in technology. There's always going to be people who take advantage, and we can either get, we can be the old people in the room being like, AI stole our Instagram account content, or you can be the person making the AI Instagram account content, and chill and be making dope stuff and enjoying life. Let's throw it to you, and then we're gonna go to Day After. I saw he's definitely one of those creative tornadoes that we gotta hear from. But let's go to Alts first.
I mean, I've just been going after Johnny every time, so I figured I might as well do it again. We've on the same wavelength. But yeah, no, like AI is a tool, right? Like it's okay to use it. Don't be afraid to use it. Everyone else is going to do it. Like you might as well do it. And it's just a tool, right? It's just going to be a way to open up your creative expression. And if you like, Yobs was, sponsored by Midjourney, but like if you haven't played with it, like it's way easier than you think, right? Just dabble and you will find yourself addicted really fast because it's just a new way to create. That's a lot of fun. But it got me thinking, like at some point, I think like we might be, I don't know, Yobs, we might be looking to AI at some point to find out what is cool. Because like as the technology kind of goes on this exponential curve, I think like the older institutions and traditions, like some of those are going to become obsolete, and like really humans like being cool is also a construct, like a social construct, right? We look to others to build consensus for what is cool. But like AI will eventually like, kind of be tapped into the bevy of that information, and we'll be able to pull and extract from it quicker than we'll be able to. But we might be like looking to them at some point, which I think is really, really interesting. But I've been loving the quotes for Ray from that Rick Rubin book. They're wonderful. It's like so much just art alpha. I didn't know if you knew, but like his cousin, also named Rick, is an artist and a philosopher as well. I've got a quote from him if you want to hear it for Ray.
Oh, 100%.
Oh no, he knew. No, did you not just hear?
No.
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 I knew it.
It's too late. It's too late, Cass. Just let it happen.
How do you do this every time? Oh
The fact that Cass knew, it's outrageous.
Well done, Cass. Well done, buddy.
Bro, it was as soon as you said Rick, there was something that hit. I was like, nah.
That was fucking amazing. Well done. Got me good.
This is
hey,
worse
but Cass
than
is a
somebody
good
come
friend.
up
He
to
was
show a project.
He was trying to protect you, for Ray. That's a good friend there.
Yeah, I definitely did not see that one coming. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, for Ray, I was like, oh yeah, that's another cool quote. Let's hear it. And yeah, this is why I fall for the dumb, these nuts jokes and all of that stuff from all the aboves. This is exactly why.
Just fall for the scams, Tebby. Please.
You know, I've been pretty good. I haven't fallen for the scams yet, which is pretty good. I actually got called out lots of names for not letting somebody drain me. So, oh, that was good. But anyways, well done, Alts. Well done.
Talking about tools, there was another quote in that book that I want to read out for you guys, and it says, "No matter what tools you use to create, the true instrument is you, and through you, the universe that surrounds us all comes into focus." Bars. I'm going to pass it over to Sunred.
Finally, I got I know how to use this raise hand tool now. So basically, like I kind of agree with you, Alts, and it just reminded me of college. Like I went to art school, and they took us to the engineering department, and they were doing like research on art history and what makes good art, and then they're kind of generating new art based on what people considered art before, right? Like good art, and that quote unquote good is like hard to determine, and it's very consensus based, like you said. So it's really fascinating to see how people change up the prompts in Midjourney, and it's pretty cool.
Throw it to Dre.
Yo, what's good people? I didn't even know you guys had this space going on. But it's the amount of time, these hours, or however long you guys been in here talking about these truths. But I had to come up because you guys were talking about AI. And I got a homie from the crib named Mr. Grateful that I'm not sure if you guys know him, but he has like a huge following on Instagram. And he created his following based off of utilizing AI to create his followers, where he made it a partner of his company. And he told it that that's what he wanted to do, was increase his following. And he got over like 100,000 followers in a month. And that was like his follower AI challenge. And now he's doing a challenge to make $1 million with his partner AI. And he's going to do that within a month as well. And he's showcasing it day by day, what he's putting in for his inputs and into Chat GPT and how he's going to execute it. So, no, I agree with what you guys are saying. I was just using that as an example to showcase that it is just an extension of who we are and what we put inside it, or what we put in it to make it work. And like Cass said, we can be the old people in the back, like, no, we're not going to do this, or we can change our lives and change the lives of many people around us if we utilize it. So, and I also wanted to say this: what does it mean, or what does being a creator mean? Like, it means whatever you want it to mean. Because that's what creation is. As a creator, that's what you can do. You can be, I'm a creator with my words and my clothing and my energy, for sure. But I don't do a lick of 3D blending or, well, I'm creating some matcha right now. That's what you hear. I'm a barista right now. But and that makes me a creator as well. So it can be whatever you want it to be. Don't put any stipulations on yourself or your creativity. You're only stifling the gift that God has given you to share with the world in the first place. And with that, I'm out.
Dre, that was beautiful, but I'm not gonna lie. It sounded like you were in the bathtub and you were releasing some unspeakable things. It was like them tiny little ones. I'm glad you were making matcha instead.
I swear I'm making matcha, no farcha. It's straight. It's look mixing. You hear it? That's me.
Ticks or it didn't happen.
Oh my, nope, can't. Sorry.
Day after, you've been up on stage for a while. How's it going today?
Hey, hello everybody. I'm chilling, but I wanted to pop up here for two main reasons, right? One being to talk about the 10,000 hours, and then the other one like this whole AI conversation. And I just saw that you posted, Cash just posted like the 10,000 hour rule, and the way I see that is that 10,000 hours is just the bare minimum. It's like you have to go to high school first in order for you to go to college, and throughout your whole 10,000 hours journey, right? You're learning as much as possible, and you're trying to discover and find yourself. That by the time you do complete the 10,000 hours, right, you know some of the quote unquote rules, but now you know how to break them. And that's where, creativity is unleashed. And then when it came to like the whole AI conversation, at the end of the day, art and being a creator, is what you stamped it as art. Whatever you decide to elevate is what it is. Because we all have mid-journey, and we've all tried, to create like an animus type of rendition, and we all have similar problems. But whatever somebody else picked versus what I picked, that's the final art piece. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
No, it
it goes
definitely does.
back. Yeah, I agree. I think it goes back to the individual, right? It's like ultimately it's through your lens that whatever makes it out is why it matters and what it means something. Because we all look at different pieces and different creations differently, and it invokes different emotions. But you, as the curator, I guess, the creator and curator, ultimately decides what makes it out front and center. And I think that's what makes it powerful. So, I guess going back to the AI piece and how I think Yub said it's bad. Like it may not know what's cool. It's gonna generate a bunch of stuff, right? But it's still gonna require, I think, that human being to say, this is the one that I want for my art form to make it out there, and kind of gets that stamp of approval from you as the creator, and then other people get to enjoy it. Generating the art piece itself, and like that AI is great at that. That's why it's an assistant. Which, by the way, I probably need to learn some Midjourney, because the thing very similar to Sunred, I look at the screen and I'm just like, I don't know, what do I type in here? Like, this is, I'm the old guy in the room, okay? I'm like, I don't know about this.
Well,
But
the easiest thing that you could do is, put one of your images and then just add one description at a time. Like I put some of my paintings in Midjourney, and then I said, oil painting and the style of X, Y, and Z, oil painting, watercolor, whatever, and just let Midjourney do its thing. What it, takes my image and what it thinks I meant by oil painting, and then from there, I curate even further.
see, but the thing is, haven't even gotten to step -1 yet, which is reading the instructions on how to use Midjourney. So I'm way behind. You know what I mean? So like, I literally pulled up the screen. I was like, I don't even know where to start. But eventually, I will get there, right? And I think I need instructions. I need instructions. So once I figure it out, then from there I can break it and just do my own thing. But yeah, no, I think it's a powerful tool. I see what people are creating. I love what Nine Gotcha Ghost is putting out there. Like, seeing his work, just, man, it makes me think that I do need to get into AI, and it's making me realize how powerful it actually can be. Um, Even like there's his work that I love when it comes to like AI creations. There's even like I think Artifact has like an AI thing that for a little while there was, asking us to put our clone numbers in there, and it would go and find like our I don't even know who's behind that account, but there's so many cool things that you can do. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to, it's like, yeah, you're still gonna have to day after, to your point, put in that prompt, creating that, and I think that in itself is an art form, and it takes time and skills to master that. And that's why it's daunting to me right now, if I'm being honest, because it's like, it's almost like you're looking at like a world of potential, but like all this power, but yet you don't really know how to harness it, and it takes time to master that. So eventually we'll get there, one small task piece at a time.
Maybe we can do a workshop. Sorry, maybe Blenderdac can actually walk us through it. Blenderdac, throw a thumbs up if you agree with this. We could do it on Discord, maybe, or not. He's not even here. Yubs, you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in quickly and give you a lot of the alpha of alphas, man, with AI. Like Toby was saying, it's like it can, with any creative, like anything like with creativity, it will always feel like daunting at the start. And when you do go into Midjourney and like set it up, and like there's YouTube videos on how to actually get started, and that's like the hardest part, I would say. But then like when you do go in there, the way it works is in Discord, and as a beginner, you're going to go into these rooms, and everyone else is like shooting generations as well, and it's just like you will see everyone else's things as well. And that's when you're going to see like these crazy prompts that people have built, right? And you're like, how do I even get to understanding those prompts and where they go and things like that? But you can use AI to then work with that AI. So if you go to ChatGPT and install a plugin called AIPRM, it is the alpha go of the century, and in that all it like helps you like prompt ChatGPT into like things, but there's also like 10 or 20 or so like user made plugins for Midjourney. And all you do is click on the Midjourney prompt generator, and then you put your little tiny sentence in of like a person walking in the rain in the style of anime or whatever. And depending on like the plugin, it will give you like 5 or 6 ultra detailed prompts to just copy and paste directly into Midjourney, and you will get the most outrageous results. But the secret in all of that is like using the prompts that gives you and reading it. Read how it's building those sentences, what it's prioritizing, and like what it puts at the end, and like the styles and this and that. And through that, you will be able to like learn way more. But if you want to get sick real fast, use ChatGPT and install AIPRM, use the Midjourney prompt generator, and you will get the sickest results like instantly. You'll feel like so good. So if you want to get started, jump in. You're going to make some sick shit.
So what you're saying is I need to get AI to help me use AI so that I can do AI stuff.
That's it. Let's go.
Man, at that point, just get the
Got it.
Neuralink, bro. Just get the Neuralink, dude. I'm sick of this. This is ridiculous.
I agree.
You guys got robots doing robots.
Yeah, I mean, it's the machine building the machine, right? Except now it's anyways, whatever. Keep Anya. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think I really love the recommendations that you are making, Yobs. I think it's a really great idea. And I know we did like maybe 6-7 months ago or so, we did like an AI space to like walk people through like creating, I think it was on Novel AI or something we were using at the time, but it feels like a million years have passed since we've done that. And so much more of the technology is way better than it is now, like just the programs and the websites and the tools and the prompts and everything. So I feel left behind, and it's only been like 6 months since we've done that. And so it would be really awesome to get some sort of a teachable space, Discord, Twitter combo, something or other. It would be really nice, because I definitely would appreciate having that, like, kind of walk me through like an old person and tell me how to do this so that I can do it for myself, and teach me how to fish, please. I need it so bad. But the other thing I was gonna say, because you guys were talking about kind of old systems and things, is that the things that we used to use to create, those systems weren't made for us. You don't work for those systems. Make the things work for you and create, use what we have and that is coming, and that you think like, oh, well, this isn't exactly what I need. Make it work for you. Do it, make it do what you want it to do. Because those old systems, they weren't made for you. So take advantage of what we have today.
So I feel like I need to figure out then what I want to create, right? Then maybe that's the problem, because I don't even know what I want to create with AI and Midjourney and all that. So I think like everything
random
else,
stuff. Literally, don't even think about it. Just start prompting random things. Throw your clone in there and then put anime, then 90s aesthetic, or anime and 90s aesthetic, etc., etc. And that's it.
You know what? I have a vacation coming up, and I think I'm going to do that when I come back from vacation and I'm not back at work yet. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to throw something in there and
Word
see
of
what happens.
advice though, do not do it before you go to sleep, because you're gonna spend all night just generating images.
I
I've
mean,
done
I
it
already
one
do.
too many times.
That's the problem with renders. Like, somebody asked me the other night, I think it was on Bad Day. He was like, "Oh, when do you do your render?" I'm like, literally at 2 a.m, because that's usually what happens. I just feel like you get obsessed with like, oh, I gotta finish this, and then next thing you know, it's like, the last time I think I was up till 4 a.m. I had to work the next day, so I took like a 1-hour power nap, and I went to work, and I came back, and I was just dead. But I couldn't like rest, because I still had to go and be a good dad, right? And spend time with my kids, spend time with my wife. So you do it when you can. But so you're saying do it earlier in the day after is kind of what I'm hearing here, so that when I get sucked into that hole, Yeah, I have like hours before it's bedtime.
Yeah, if you like to sleep, definitely do it before that, you know.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start like probably like around like 10, 11 a.m. And then by the time I come up, it'll be bedtime and I should be good. All right, cool. That's the alpha, everyone. That's the alpha right there. I appreciate you, day after.
Teddy,
Yes,
let us know when you're taking your vacation so that we can all take time off and then we can all just do it together. And that'd be great.
Yeah, I can tell you right now. So I will in the last week of August, I will be off work and back from vacation. So I'll have time. So if you want to schedule like a space or something around that time, then yes, I'm all for it. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say it's dangerous because it's on Discord. Midjourney is on Discord. So you can have it on your phone. So you could be in bed and do it. So it's just like, it's very, very dangerous. Cass, I'm going to pass it to you. And then we actually summoned BlenderDAC, guys. So, Cass, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short. I was just going to say it is kind of going back to what Ferry's original question was earlier about setting goals. I think that's the only thing I will talk about setting goals wise is project-based goals on what you want to put out. I think should be important because of this conversation right here. I have not touched any AI purely out of the fact that I know I will end up sucked down a rabbit hole and I don't have time to I just don't. And it's cool because I think AI is amazing and I respect it, but it's just not like the thing that I'm going to run down and run through walls for. So that's all I'm going to suggest just because Tevi just said it. We all everybody has those 4 a.m. moments, and it's like you don't need that over something if you might not use it all the time in the future. I'm just saying.
Cass, we're meant to be encouraging creativity. Why are you telling them not to do it?
Hey, I'm saying focus creativity. That's all. Laser beam focus on something sometimes can always be nice, even if it's like. But here's the thing, because Tevi could be like, let me just make an AI poster that I want to throw in my background of like my next animation. That can be really dope because it is actually like I don't know, it's a concept that could work, and like I know decorations are always annoying to find on like a bunch of other like free 3D platforms. So like yeah, there's practical ways you can add these like little moments in. I've been there too, y'all. That's all I'm saying. I've spent a lot of time learning things and spending hours on shit that like it's just now like random dust in my digital digital PC or hard drive. But all right, anyways, let's throw it to Dak. Let's hear the real wizard speak.
Hey guys, no, never a wizard. Just wanna. I mean, I'm all in. I'm down to make like with different. I know in the space there are a lot of also creators making dope stuff with AI. So I'm down with anything we could do. Like a nice I don't know what on Discord or any other thing to make like a workshop with a lot of the guys that I know that are working with AI, with video, with image. So yeah, I'm down to that. And talking about being a creator, I think is more. I mean, we are. The way I see it is that we all have the ability because we all have like printed. How can I say values, no attributes from the creators of the universe, so we'll have that option there. We'll have um, that ability. It doesn't matter if it's in painting or if it's on doing any other things. um, Even in parenting we have to be so creative to teach and to build these little human beings. So in every aspect you have to do something creative, so you are a creator. uh, the problem, and I think everyone is also touching this point, is the problem is who decide, um, like who is deciding, like in the system, uh, what's the standard for some creators or some disciplines. And there is a quote I really like, is from Mr. Beast, but he was talking on a video how he about success and about like a lot of things. And he was saying that you're a crazy or you're a weirdo until you got success from, or people see you like a successful person, and then you are a genius. So it's like the system that is like is kind of broken, and is like the one that sometimes limit us to be the creators that we want to. So at the end, yeah, we all have like that 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 available, you know, and in any other thing we do. That's all.
Bars. I love how everybody is on the same wavelength. That is one of the best parts. Like, I don't think anybody has like disagreed about even the concept of us like having innate like power to be able to create things as humans, which is super cool. But let's start to Yobs.
I just wanted to like note as well that like, you know, some of like the best, like most amazing creators of our time aren't the ones actually creating the things that they produce, if that makes sense. Like we were saying, like Rick Rubin isn't really the ones make, like he's not making the music, but if you go and look at his discography, you will have heard every single song like that in all of the genres. Do you know what I mean? DJ Khaled, for example, he's not producing no beats. He's just, you know, putting the people together to make the amazing stuff happen. Like all movie directors, every single one, they're not the ones with the camera in their hand, they're just like directing people to do these things. So like being a creator, you don't necessarily have to be doing like these things. And it's like with me as well, like I, you know, consider myself like a physical creator. I've been like a painter and designer. I make music and stuff like my whole life. I used to like DJ, make music, everything. Like I'm a creator at heart. But like since starting my project with like Clone Force and stuff, I haven't done a single part, like actual like piece that you guys have seen. Like it's all, you know, like Top Rack doing like the 3D work, Safa's doing all of like the design stuff, Eddie's animating, Nox is like building these contracts, but like I'm still there as a creator, like directing and like creatively thinking of ways to deploy, you know, this contract or like drop this and like strategies and stuff like that. So creativity goes like well beyond the act of creating in the physical realm. You're creating in your mind and in your imagination before it even enters like the physical. So, and again, that goes back to like the AI is like, you don't have to be like, think of AI as like your artwork and stuff. It's just an assistant to your tools as well. But like really ultimately it's like pushing the boundaries of thought is what like I feel creativity is like. What is real, and then how do you push beyond that, like, and then that's where like the wonder is. So yeah, I just thought it was like something to note that, you know, not all creativity is like created. Sometimes it's just thought.
Preach. I was gonna say, dude, as soon as you started talking, I was like, he doesn't mention that he has had like creative business decisions, because like that's the huge thing is like, you know, as like a CEO or like an operator in a business, like you're not like, it is not a dumb person game. It is a very, you got to do a lot of things, you got to manage a lot of timelines and ideas and concepts and filter things out. So yeah, shout out to what you guys are obviously doing at Clone Force. Y'all are killing it, and I think it's super interesting to see that you're also taking the break. And I wanted to ask, you know, if you if this process has inspired you to work differently on your own personal stuff now that you've kind of really like dove into working with a team.
That's actually like quite an interesting question, a good question. And like ultimately I see like Clone Force and like the project and everything, like that is my thing. Like I'll forever, that will be my thing now. And it's whether it's like me personally doing it myself or like me directing a team, it's still its entity, and I'm always going to be do that. And that's like personally what I'm doing 24/7 anyway. But like I haven't even like put any like two thoughts into doing anything apart from that for the moment. But I'll always be there like pushing and like thinking of new ways to create things. Like you guys might have seen like the video, the like AI Wonder Dynamics thing that I posted with like the Guardians the other day, and like how powerful it is for me to have like absolutely zero animation knowledge. I may know how to like render a few things here and there. I don't know how to color grade. I don't know how to do any of those things, but like to go on a website and just put a scene in and throw in your VRM, and it like it creates this thing for you that looks absolutely outrageous. It's like speeding up our creative process. And whether you use it as something to put out there or not put out there, like it's just the amount of information and like inspiration you can gain in such a short amount of time now is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that's like what the most powerful thing is now, is like the amount of inspiration we have at our fingertips, wherein like, you know, the old world we were talking about and the old conventions, like your inspiration only came from like the nature around you. Literally there was nothing more than like the trees and the rivers and all of that, all of that stuff. But now we have like the limits, and like how far we can push creativity is, it just goes like crazy and crazy. And it's a crazy world we live in, man. I absolutely love seeing it because I love like the creations that are being like brought out by the community. Everything is absolutely like beautiful. It's just beautiful to witness and wonder, man.
Yeah, Yobs, I was gonna say as well, as you were talking about, you were like, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I was like, bitch, it's your idea. What are you talking about? I was having steam come out of my ears for a second, but we need to cut this short, guys. We've been going for 1 hour 40, so I'm gonna pass it to Blended Act and then Day After, and then I'm gonna leave you with one more fight of Dre as well. Cheeky bugger. Okay, Dak, after you.
Thank you. Now, just really quick, I think I have said this in the past in other space, but please check out. There's a little documentary on YouTube about Everything is a Remix. It's about creativity and how like big projects are basically. This guy like tried to show how other big projects, music, movies are like just a remix of different kind of stuff. So that is a good documentary.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Yabs were saying, and also Blender right now. You know, everything is a remix. Like, there's no such thing as originality, but what you can do is curate, you know, what you see or what you feel, and your life experience is different and unique. So when you curate something, you know, it becomes quote unquote original. But at the end of the day, you just took, you know, you just made jungle juice, took a bunch of ingredients and made something. But real quick, to go back to Yab's point, we're living in a time now that, you know, you don't need to have the skills. You just need to have the want or be curious. Um, you could start generating images, create storyboards all through AI. And if you don't know how to use AI, right, then you just ask ChatGPT, like Yabs was saying. Like, the only reason you're not creating right now is because, one, you're not really into it, or two, you're lazy. But there's no excuses. You can generate 3D, you could generate video, generate everything, and from that you could take it to people who can do the stuff, give them a job still, right, and make shit happen, like what Johnny was saying earlier. But yeah, that's it for me.
I mean, I got to jump in and say that second comment there was pretty on point, pretty blunt, but on point. Like, it hits right at my heart because I'm like, yeah, definitely slacking off on the whole AI thing. And it's like liking the drive and the motivation and being lazy. So yeah, man. But Cass actually earlier gave me a really good idea on how. And so again, it's finding that purpose and the drive, right? Like I'm always like looking for backgrounds, and I love using art from the community, or or just cool pictures that I see online, and most of the time I guess they are AI generated. So I could actually create my own own background images, and that in itself is a great use case for finding motivation for myself. So that's kind of what I think earlier in the conversation I was saying, like a random comment or random picture or something happens and it sparks like the drive or motivation to go and create something. So going full circle on that comment now, and I guess I found my motivation. And thanks for the extra push day after and for the spark casts. Keep climbing that mountain. I think you're finding gold up there, man.
All right, my turn. I'm gonna jump in. No idea is
All right.
original. There's nothing new under the sun, right? Nas said it best, and I amen that as well. Don't put too much pressure on your own back trying to think that you can't create because you can't come up with original ideas. Just take the ideas that you think that work, put them together, and rock with the jungle juice. Everybody loves jungle juice, right? I love jungle juice. I don't even drink, but I'll drink jungle juice. And here's another thing. The homie, speaking of artifact creators, Illa Orbis, shout out to the GOAT, man. This dude doing sound design for the Book of Hove exhibit in the Brooklyn Public Library is major deal. That's crazy stuff. If you don't know, Jay-Z has his lyrics printed everywhere on the Brooklyn Public Library. The exhibit opened today on the 14th. You hear how excited my wife is about it too? It's crazy, man. Like, artifact creators are second to none, man. Keep it going. I love this. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for making me feel accepted, even though I don't create any of those same type of stuff. I appreciate you guys. We are on top of everything else. They can't stop us. They never will be able to. Let's keep it going.
Oh my God, my brain's about to explode. The last quote that I have saved up is actually from Illa Orbis. So that's crazy. I just want to thank you guys so much for joining the spaces, for your perspectives and your experiences. It's so nice, so refreshing to hear. I love these roundtables so much. We should do them more often. And if you guys have any topics that you want to speak about, DM me or Cass or Artifact Creators. We'll make it happen. So just remember that creativity isn't something that you're born with. It's just the skill, right? That you just nurture and you develop through, practicing and experimenting. So just do it, guys. Just do it. And I have this quote. I remember, I think it was almost a year ago now that I asked this same question, what is a creator, on Artifact Creators? And I had a few amazing responses, but Illa's stood out to me. And he said, creativity is the source of energy that can be used to materialize a thought or an idea into something beautiful, which then can be shared with the world to inspire others. Absolute gold. I love you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and I will see you, and Cass will see you next week. Any final words, anyone?
Yo,
Love
shout
you
out
all.
Ella.
Eggy weggy.
Eggy weggy! Oh, I wish I had the song prepared. But we'll just go with a generic song from our website. All right, then. See you guys next week. Remember to say bye, okay? Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.